Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, no, nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciative of everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault episode. Today we're talking about why you really set up a trust. And so we've been given a way to kind of converse with trustees, new trustees alike, and so people that have trust. We're trustees, so we're gonna have a conversation with trustees today of why people really set up the trust. And so this may be a misnomer. A lot of people are like, oh, I just wanted asset protection. I just wanted to protect my assets so I didn't get sued out of them. And that's what they say, stuff like that. So we're gonna let you all know what is the real benefit and why people really set up a trust deep down inside their heart. They set up a trust because they wanted it to give something to their children. They wanted to give something to their heirs. They wanted to give something to someone else in their bloodline. They wanted to give someone to the benefit of what? The beneficiary. The trust is set up for the benefit of the beneficiary. So if the trust is set up for the benefit of the beneficiary, how are we going to get to this place where all of a sudden people are trying to live out of the trust dish right now in this lifetime, in this generation? They're basically going to burn through all the assets. They're basically not going to set up the entity to where it can pay the bills. So the next trustee that steps in and there's no problems there, they just going to step in and manage assets instead of coming in and having to save and put it on a respirator and try to keep this thing on life support and basically try to get this thing out of financial ruin for a generation or two or however long it's been in that position. So when we talk about what's the reason people set up a trust, they set up the trust for the beneficiaries. That's what the trust is set up for. It's not your social security number. It's not selfish. It's not. It's set up for the benefit of the beneficiary. So for all the individuals and people that, oh, I want to be in trust, I'm going to set up in a trust, I'm trying to get into a trust, I'm on a trust. It's set up for the benefit of the beneficiary. So how are you going to sit here and say, oh yeah, well, I'm trying to figure out how I could eat right now. I'm trying to make sure it's not going to be in his position right now. Well, we just going to go ahead and share, what we've been sitting around recently and how it relates to people that are really about the life. They're really looking to transition. A lot of trustees come to us and they'll say, oh, Judge Christian, I fell off the bandwagon. I fell off the paddy wagon. I haven't been a solid trustee for a while. I got to tighten up in my trustee skills. See, people don't want to hear that this is like any other thing. You got to practice it. Oh, Judge Christian, how do you have wisdom? I'm practicing being a trustee. Yeah, it's like anything else. You have to practice it. That's why they call it practice in law. That's why they call it practice in medicine. So some of the most sophisticated fields are always in the form of a practice. Do we have rules and regulations? Sure, they have. The prudent investor man rule. Are you reading the prudent investor? Are you a prudent investor? Are you out here just going on these little apps and putting your money on the app thinking the money's that and then no, y'all already done seen crypto companies go under. Y'all seen exchanges go under. But oh no, we still got faith in it. The dollar didn't go under yet. Oh yeah, the dollar. I'm a bet against the dollar, but the dollar didn't go under yet. Even if it wasn't in the reserve currency of the world, it's still in the top three. So how are you gonna sit here and say, "Oh, I the dollars. Don't want to hold those dollars. I don't want to hold the fiat. You don't want to hold the fiat that the other part of the world is taking a loan against. You don't want to hold the fiat I don't want to hold the fiat. What assets are you holding? Were you holding gold right now? Were you holding silver right now? Where we say it's a run on these assets and people can't even explain why the assets going up? Oh man, it's its time. What do you think is haven't they said real estate's been in a bubble for years? It's overpriced. Oh man, they over here proposing 50-year mortgages now? Interest only mortgages? So the reason why you set up the trust, most people set up the trust, is for the beneficiaries. But a lot of times people get so they still caught up in day-to-day mentality. I gotta make the money right now. I gotta make money right now. I gotta focus on money right now. How's that gonna put the family estate? Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. What's the benefit of setting up a trust for your children when it's going to be gone in a generation because you didn't train them to be trustees? Because you didn't have wealth conversations with them at the dinner table? That's the bottom line. Because you didn't talk to them about entrepreneur mentality. For all the trustees that are going from an employee mentality to a trustee mentality or an employee mentality to an entrepreneur mentality, how are you going to sit here and say, well, oh, I'm not going to train my children to be entrepreneurs. I'm not going to force them to do anything. Well, if you're not going to force them to do anything, if they go do something that doesn't contribute to the family estate, they're going to have to live off of the family estate. They're not going to be trustees. They're going to be the beneficiary, truly. So, let's talk about it. If they're going to be the trustee, because you're going to make sure that you're setting up for success. You're making sure the family estate set up for success. You're not focused on employee mentality, you're focused on entrepreneur mentality. Sounds like you might have to tell them what they're going to do. You're going to tell them at the meetings. You're looking forward to seeing their skills get perfected in that area. So they don't become the beneficiary and they become your successor. Because when you're really in the private sector, people aren't beneficiaries. They just don't tell you that. We sat in rooms with the wealthy already, for sure, other high net worth investors, and they'll tell you some cockamamie stuff. But that's because they don't want you to know. Because there's one or two reasons why someone may have a leg up. Oh, Trust Christian, is that the case? Is it one of those things where people aren't going to share any information? Maybe in the public sector or not. It's interesting because the information will be be a liability in the public sector. In the private sector, it's just normal business practices. See how that works? So when we're talking about right now, oh, well, why do you set up the trust? The real reason you set up the trust was for you to be in an investment tax-free purposes. How you going to invest from a position where own assets, hold things in your name internationally? Everybody want to talk about generational wealth. How you going to talk about generational wealth and you hold assets internationally in your name? And there's no way you could say that, oh yeah, the politicians aren't doing that. Okay. When they're mainly lawyers. Oh man. So you telling me I gotta, make sure I'm in the right one? For sure. That's what it comes down to, operating in the right trust. Because last time we checked, just because you operate in the public trust don't mean you can operate internationally. So whoever got you, they got you one time. Think about it. From the beginning, you're supposed to be able to go to a public lawyer and say, hey, set me up an international trust. And they should be able to do it. But is that going to be light work? Is that going to be costly? Or is it going to be light work? Oh, they give me for $3,000-$5,000. Then maybe they get you for more, $10,000. Who knows? Think about it. You may not even have assets internationally. So how much they going to charge you for the contract? So the sentiment that really made us think about this conversation today and share this conversation is because we're sitting around some other wealthy families and we really see that you got to be thinking out multiple generations. And we see so many trustees with the mindset of, I'm gonna just do the day-to-day stuff, and they're not really pushing like 2 or 3 generation work ethic, as we all gotta push. We could sit here and say some trustees take off days, many days, and they just don't understand that the family estate is an institution. The family estate operates regardless of whether somebody wants to work or not. That's what they don't understand yet. They don't understand you have to set up a system. And the way that we can akin this, and we will start doing it, is you got to look at the trust system as like your body. You got a heart, You got a pelt, you got a pancreas, you got a private area, you got lungs, you got a spleen, you got kidneys, you got different aspects that all work together. And you can sit here and say all you want. Oh, I don't know how it works together, Trust Christian. The invisible universe and God is holding my body and universe working properly. Yeah, that's what you got to tap into at this point. Because if you don't tap into that power, how are you going to get something that's going to outlive your body that you don't even have a clue on how to make it work? So you say, oh man, that sounded complicated. Well, clearly your body's working. So are you going to make the trust system work like your body? Are you treating the trust system like your body? Even though you may not know how your heart beating without you're still doing things to prevent cardiovascular disease. You're making it a point to not eat quote unquote bad foods that incur bad things happening to your body. So you're being proactive in your approach towards your body. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. Some trustees will reach out because they're like, yeah, I want to be proactive on my body, so they want to be proactive on the trustee system. They want to be proactive in their trustee system, the family estate system. They're being proactive. Hey, Trust Christian, I need to get on the ball. I need to get into training. I need to make sure that I'm getting the continuous education that I need, because I need to hear this conversation. I need to be around the guys that are telling me that I can leverage myself, leverage the family estate, and we're in the right rooms to where, it's almost like it doesn't leave the family, but it's collateral. From a charitable position. Really? Yep. Charities make loans, don't they? Yep. So this is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're hearing the pushback of, hey, you're either going to lock in with the family estate and focus on building that every single day. Think about this. How you going to have a job and go work your job, but you're not going to build the family estate more than that? And when we say build the family estate, it might truly be you working additional hours to build an income stream through the family estate. So you might have a job, but you're building your income streams, or you're building the family estate income streams. And there's no doubt about it. There is an active and conscious approach towards building the family income streams. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And when you start seeing families that are, okay, we're going to have to take that approach. Sure, there are some families that take that approach that actually are building family estate income streams. So you say, oh, what does that look like? It looks like everybody says, oh, I got to put my assets in the trust so I could make sure that, the trust has assets in it so I can get things out of my name. That's one of them. Are the assets out of your name? Did you title them over yet? How's the titling process taking? How long is it taking for you to title something? People be dragging their feet. Oh man, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Yeah, you gotta do the titling of the property. But I don't know how to do it. And through the minute. We'll tell them it's through the minute. So you titling property over, isn't that the reason why you set the trust up? Because you were supposed to be titling over property. Oh yeah, but your lawyer didn't do that for you because they might charge you for some time. The other person that set the trust up for you, they didn't do it because they might charge you for their time. And even if they told you to do the minute, did you do the minute? And this is where we are in the marketplace, is understanding and seeing and relating to the realities of, oh man, I gotta be an asset manager now, not just sitting on my assets. I gotta actually manage assets, and I have to grow assets. That is the charge of a trustee, is to grow assets. Bottom line. So where are we now? We're at the place where trustees enroll, they get trained, they put performance measures in place. See, when you're dealing with the 1%, you have to be comfortable with knowing that it's 1% of the people that's actually going to do it. Is it true and true? True and true. Why? Because most are living day to day. So how are they going to live what they thinking 2 and 3 generations out? That's scale. That's scale. Four generations, five generations, putting a system in place. Oh man, trust Christian. You know what? Just from you saying that, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, you're not. Trust Christian, you talking about putting a system in place. I don't know how to put a system in place. How am I going to put a trust system in place? Somebody's got to teach me the trust system. And this is where we're going to share with y'all. Trust Christian and Vault, we got it from mentors that trained in the system. They trained us in the system. And so, yes, you have to be around other people that are in the trust system to know how to actually manage and build the trust system. Bottom line, some people can say, here and say, oh, trust Christian, are you serious? Well, think about it. You're coming out of nowhere getting some information that is truly powerful and can protect, once again, assets, families from going bankrupt, all type of stuff, assets being taken from the family, all type of stuff. And you're gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, I don't know if I need to rub elbows with those people. And that's the challenge. So people say, oh, Trust Christian, when are you going to do your next event? When are you going to do another workshop? Ladies and gentlemen, we definitely do one-day investor events. We You can do them by request. We do them privately. We moved into that space where we work with a lot of families privately, and they'll call us in, and it'll be about five of them. Some of them will come to one location. Some of them will do it through teleconference, and we just do private meetings with families, private meetings with trustees. They'll fly us out, and we'll sit there with them in their group. It could be with their accountant, could be with their lawyer, could be with their family, that they want to know this information. And it's not just the information, it's actually like making sure that the system's in place. What are the meetings we need to have? Let's set up the dates for the next year. Okay, now we have our dates. Now we have, what are some of the standards? Okay, everybody's got to contribute this. And this is our regular contribution way to move. They start writing, the covenants. Start writing things into the minutes. It's just that simple. It's that simple. It the wealth system might seem complicated, but to be honest with you guys, from inside looking out, it's not complicated at all. It is just being inside of the basically the grit and the grind of the daily basis, seeing the people that's involved in the information, and pretty much just going from there. Just being around the right people with the information. That's what it comes down to. Uh, when it you gotta anybody can have the information, but how many people are implementing the system? That's why we share. You gotta associate with other people that's in the system or involved in trusteeship. Why? Because they're gonna keep you on your feet, quote unquote, not just on your toes, but keep you on your feet. You're around people that have the same type of setup. Oh man, Trust Christian, you having such a hard time because you're not around the people that got the setup. That's just bottom line. Oh man, somebody set me up in trust. That's all it is. Somebody just set them up in trust. Because that's the case. They're not around enough people that are in trust. How you going to be upset that you're not building a trust system as fast as you want it when you around employees? 60% of your time, 80% of your time, you're not reading wealthy mindset stuff. We'll give y'all a gym. Y'all can do it. Most won't. We already know. The mentors told us. Remember when we heard this at one of the conferences, and one of the mentors said it. And we never forgot it. We went home and started doing it. And this is something that, at times it's not overrated. It's just you can get consumed with a lot of techniques and not focus on the main thing. So let's just get down to it. One of the mentors he said, Trust Christian, there's less than 5,000 billionaires in the world, and not all of them have written books, but there are a few that have written books, men and women. Make sure that they wrote it and read the book, because you're talking to a billionaire, essentially. And he said most people won't do it, and he put up the link on the website, and he showed the 100 books, however many books that billionaires have wrote. And he shared a few stories of some of them. He shared some of the wildest stories of the books. And it's like, okay, so he's sharing, some wild stories about these books. He said one book you wasn't going to read just because of the title alone. So we went and read the book. That was the first one we read. And it was a great book. It was by a billionaire. This guy took two companies public, things you would think that are incredible feats you couldn't do in one lifetime. This gentleman changed the way housing structures were created. Dana created what's called a new invention, what's called a townhouse. And so you start seeing this type of stuff. You're like, dang, okay, there are people in the world that think outside the box. There are people that want to create generational wealth. And you got to be around those people. One of the ways you do it is through books. Now, we listen to a lot of audio books at the vault. So just like y'all listen to this content, yeah, I wonder, oh man, Trust Christian, how do you put it on the audio? Why do you put it on the podcast? Because wealthy people are traveling. By them traveling, they're not sitting still, and their visuals are not always necessary. So it's just hearing the content, it's being around wealthy individuals. So you listen to the content, you listen to new techniques, you listen to new ways that someone's thinking outside the box. You're not looking for negative information, you're actually looking for positive information. You're looking for solutions, you're looking for, how do I, okay, and listen to this trustee, how they did something, and I'm seeing it, and you hear it. Okay. Some people say readers are leaders. Some people say if you want to hide something from some people, put it in a book. That's basically what it comes down to. Is there are billionaires, quote unquote, that have written books, and you can listen to these books. And this is how you get the mindset that you need for trusteeship. Google billionaire book list, billionaires that have actually written a book, and give me the list of them, their names in the books. And you get that information, and you take it for what it is, because at the end of the day, I mean, what else are you listening to? What are you consuming to develop your wealth mindset? People want to talk about Instagram, they want to talk about these other websites, all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, that's not a book from a billionaire. Oh man, I'm listening to the podcast and the interviews with these guys. Hey, we're not denying that too, true too, but at the end of the day, did you even inquire about the ones that wrote books? Oh man, I don't even want to be a billionaire. I don't want none of that silly stuff. I just want to focus on taking generational wealth. So, okay, there are management books that still deal with managing trust in the family estate from a Rockefeller perspective. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do what the Rockefellers did. Well, clearly, that's why people don't have generational wealth. They like talking about it. But when it comes down to, oh, generational wealth and how that game goes, last time we checked, Rockefellers have done it well. The Rothschilds have done it well. Yeah, I got Goofy sitting on the internet. Think about this. They getting 5,000 hits, 10,000 hits on the internet. Oh yeah. Why would I care about someone that's not going to remember my name in 2 or 3 generations? Because you're a nobody. That's why. But the ones of us that actually are putting our stake in the ground and saying, you know what, my name means something, I mean something, my children mean something, and it means something to give something to someone, to help someone possibly, or to give someone a level of value, because maybe you don't have any value to give. You can give value to the next generation or to descendant generations, and they benefit from it, unlike your Peter Cottontail, who couldn't benefit from somebody possibly giving them something. So now we get down to it, the ones of us that want to give something. Who are you giving it to? That's what you set up the trust for. Are you giving it to just your kids? If you giving it just to your kids, it might not go past your kids. Y'all don't want to hear that. The old trust Christian. Think about it. You got your children going through public school to be institutionalized, to be trained to work a job. How they going to develop a family estate and have an entrepreneur mentality when you're not putting them in entrepreneur engagement activities right now? Oh, you know about the kids selling the lemonade. You know about people selling baseball cards, doing trading cards. Y'all know about people starting businesses before they were 18 years old. Those are your billionaires. Those are your family generational wealthers. Oh, Rockefeller, he was just somebody that stumbled upon it later in life. No, he actually was that guy from the beginning. Dubious in his approach towards business. Shrewd. Oh man, these guys, man, you know, they just, yeah, y'all, what y'all want to lend on the stories of waiting until you 45, 50 and becoming a multi-millionaire? Is that your story? Y'all want to be Ray Kroc? Y'all want to be Colonel Sanders? Is that who y'all want to be? Because if you're not going to be one of them, where you got to wait till you get older because you had the information when you got older, then you're going to do what you got to do right now. You're not going to wait till you 45, 50 years old to say, oh yeah, I found the wealth system and now I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to make it a point to make sure my children are engaged in the wealth information. See, people don't want to hear, oh man, we sat in a room with one of the largest registered investment advisories. This man has 9 children. He has 9 children with his wife. 9 children. 7 of them are involved in the family business right now. How do you beat that? Oh man, he told him to go off the Alio oxen free tree, huh? Just go out there and pick whatever you want to do with your life, son or daughter. How? They still came back. Clearly there was some value they see there. So did he set up the family estate trust from him to make sure that they benefit, or they come in as what? Managers and trustees. Did you set up a system where you record what's going on in the times so your family isn't given the wrong information via the news or the historical books that someone else wrote? Misinformation? Not the full story? When y'all saw what happened during COVID? Right. That's why you set up the trust. So you can pass along information, not just money. Oh man, you set up the trust so you can pass along values. That's what the mentors trained us to do. Y'all want to go there? The mentors trained us to set up the trust for the benefit of setting up, passing along values. Bottom line, you gotta pass along values. You can pass on a lot of things, but passing along values is one of the most important things. It's not the money, it's definitely passing along the values. But they don't want to hear that. The public doesn't want to hear that. Why? Because they're dirtbags. Oh man, Trust Christian, I don't want to. I don't come from money. So how am I gonna just? Why do I have to think like that? That's all it is. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Thank you for listening to Trust Christian go in today and talk about these topics that, the real reason why people set up the trust. People don't want to hear that. Oh man, I don't want. I set up the trust, but I didn't want to do all. I got to do all the work by myself, and when am I going to spend the money? Am I going to slave away for the next generation? Am I going to be a slave for my beneficiaries? Wow. A certain group of people are saying, are they got to slave away for the beneficiaries, knowing that they actually may come from that. And they may be just as strong as that. To say, you know what, I'm going to make the sacrifice like previous generations made. And if you got to work in that indentured servitude position, you do with a level of, this is not for me. This is any offspring that I give. They will have a tremendous upside. Bottom line. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening, replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening, replay. Feel free to reach out. Consultations, Christian@trustchristian.com. We have enrollment for Q2 right now for Trustee Training. Christian@trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian@trustchristian.com. Peace.